Bitcoin is digital money, invented in 2009 as a secure way for people to transfer funds over the internet. It is often called the currency of the internet. Because it runs on a massive network of computers that cooperate with each other, there is no central authority in charge of Bitcoin, so nobody controls it, not banks, governments, or corporations. With traditional banking, sending money overseas is slow, expensive, and sometimes just plain impossible. On top of that, 2.5 billion people in the world can't use banks, open accounts, or get credit cards, and are essentially locked out of the global economy. Bitcoin smashes down this barrier and gives you the power to be your own bank without any monthly fees or anybody telling you how much you can use in a day. All you need is an internet connection to instantly pay anyone, anywhere around the world. As you can imagine, this gives cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin tremendous potential to change the world. In fact, many people around the world see it as digital gold for the people. But what gives Bitcoin its value? Learn more in the next video. In the beginning, people traded things for food. They trusted that this many sheep was worth that many bananas. Then they traded things for metal coins. They trusted that this many coins was worth that many sheep. Then one day, someone created paper notes that were backed by gold, and people trusted that this many bills were worth that many coins. Today, the money that you see in your bank account is backed by credit, which is a fancy way of saying, we don't actually have this money right now. You just trust your bank when it tells you what your balance is. But if everybody went to the bank and tried to withdraw all their money right now, the entire system would collapse. There's also the problem of inflation. Governments and banks never stop printing money, which makes its value drop over time. Bitcoin eradicates these problems with a massive network of computers that keep track of where the money actually is, who has it, and who spends it. This network is called the blockchain. New Bitcoins are created every day, but at a very slow and carefully controlled rate. There will only ever be 21 million of them in existence, which helps them keep their value. Bitcoin uses powerful encryption and unique complex passwords to ensure that it never goes anywhere except to where you intend. If someone wanted to cheat the system and give themselves free Bitcoin, they would either have to hack millions of computers at the exact same time, or build a massive computer network with an enormous price tag. It's incredibly unlikely that either of these scenarios could ever happen, making Bitcoin the most secure currency that humans have ever invented. But the value of Bitcoin fluctuates like crazy. Is it sustainable? Learn more in the next video. The global financial crisis of 2008 is often considered the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression of the 1930s. During the crisis, the Zimbabwe dollar experienced a period of hyperinflation, and in July of 2008, this note for $100 trillion was worth less than 14 cents US. It was a powerful example of what can happen when a government tries to interfere with the value of its currency. Bitcoin was invented as a direct response to the 2008 financial crisis, where it became apparent that the world needed a currency that couldn't be tampered with. Today, you can buy a lot less for $1 than you could 20 years ago. This is because traditional currencies are vulnerable to inflation. When the value of a dollar drops, the government just prints more of them. New Bitcoins are also minted or mined every day. But this happens as a result of solving very complex mathematical problems that can't be cheated. And until the end of time, there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins in existence. This means that Bitcoin will become more rare over time, instead of more common, like traditional currencies do. This will help keep the value of Bitcoin sustainable. So, if Bitcoin is so beneficial, so safe, and so sustainable, why are people afraid of it? Learn more in the next video. Because Bitcoin exists in a purely digital world, its value can change a lot faster than traditional currencies. In December 2016, one Bitcoin was worth less than $1,000 US. 1 year later, it rose to almost 20,000 US dollars. However, one thing you need to know is that Bitcoin should never be considered a get-rich-quick scheme. It's easy to lose money on Bitcoin if it's bought and sold at the wrong time. Over the long term, Bitcoin definitely has the potential to grow. In the short term, anything can happen. The one thing that makes Bitcoin super secure is also the thing that slows it down. Bitcoin runs on the blockchain, a network of computers that all have copies of the exact same ledger. Every time there's a transaction, the ledger gets bigger. When there are a lot of transactions, the whole network becomes congested trying to catch up. During these times of high traffic, if you want to send Bitcoin to someone, you need to pay a higher fee, or your Bitcoin could actually become stuck in the system. With that said, even a slow Bitcoin transfer is still faster than a traditional international money transfer. When it first came out, Bitcoin was widely adopted by underground marketplaces on the dark web because it was so secure and not many people knew about it. As a result, there's a public stigma against Bitcoin that only bad people use it. Drug dealers also conduct transactions using traditional cash, but that doesn't automatically make cash a bad thing. Nevertheless, it is common for banks to closely monitor accounts when they notice deposits coming from Bitcoin-related sources. It's also common for hackers to try and attack centralized websites that people use as Bitcoin wallets. Sadly, hacks are quite common, so it's important to store your Bitcoin away from centralized exchanges. Learn how to keep your Bitcoin safe in the next video. There are 3 ways to get started with Bitcoin. You can buy it at an ATM, exchange it with someone you know, or use an exchange website. You don't have to buy one full Bitcoin. It can be purchased in fractions. There are over 2,000 ATMs around the world that allow you to deposit cash and get Bitcoin in return. There's a variety of mobile apps that can help you set up your own Bitcoin address and trade money with people you know. And there are lots of websites that will convert your money into Bitcoin. Just remember, these websites are centralized, which makes them vulnerable to hackers. Whenever you use exchanges or wallet services that are centralized, you lose the unique property of Bitcoin, which is personal ownership. With that in mind, it is definitely recommended that you store your Bitcoin on your own hardware wallet when you aren't using it to make transactions. It's also important to do some research and make sure that your bank isn't going to close your account when they notice deposits coming from Bitcoin exchange websites. Bitcoin is the world's most successful cryptocurrency. Are you excited to put the power of your money back into your own hands and want to buy Bitcoin? Sign up to banktothefuture.com now.